This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram, @LoneWolfPB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. HK Army is proud to sponsor this episode of the Play the Game podcast, and they are excited to announce that the $20 cases of paint will continue into the NXL Chicago event, and this opportunity is open to any teams attending the 2024 NXL Chicago Open. This means that any organization, regardless of sponsorship, can take advantage of shooting Level 5 exclusive HK tournament paintballs for only $20 a case, and the new formula just got done winning back-to-back events for the Texas and Atlantic City NXL events, as Russian Legion was shooting ball-on-ball HK paint to win those events in dominant fashion. You have got to check out this new pink shell yellow fill formula and give it a try for yourself. So what are you waiting for? All you have to do to reserve your paint at the NXL Chicago is email the HK squad at sponsorship@hkarmy.com to get on the list. Do not hesitate because this paint is going to sell out fast. Head on over to your email and send your message to sponsorship@hkarmy.com right now to get on the list. If you want to ensure that your team dominates at the 2024 NXL Chicago, then shoot the best paint with HK Army and email them now at sponsorship@hkarmy.com. This episode of Play the Game podcast is brought to you by Dizana Sports Canopy Booths, and we are super excited to announce that PTG will be rocking a custom Dizana booth at all of the WCPPL events, and we cannot wait to see you there. Dizana also has a crazy deal for PTG listeners that allows you to get a 10 by 10 foot canopy and frame for only $700 shipped. Dizana booths use durable 1.6 inch heavy duty aluminum hexagonal frames, are fully coated to provide waterproof protection, use superior fabric construction, and incorporate full color dye sublimation printing. Get your custom canopy today at dizanasports.com and mention you heard about the deal on PTG to take advantage of getting your $700 custom booth right now. Click the custom tab at dizanasports.com and start designing your booth today. This episode of the PTG Show is brought to you by Andrew Lopez Law Professional Corporation, a California injury lawyer, and they are on a mission to get justice for their injury victims. Andrew Lopez Law provides comprehensive services from car accidents to slip and falls and handle a wide range of personal injury cases with expertise. Their recent victories include a $2.6 million jury verdict, a $560,000 settlement against a rideshare company, and with their expert legal representation, you can trust that a dedicated personal injury trial lawyer with years of experience will be fighting for your rights. Andrew Lopez Law is a family-run law firm with free consultations, personalized attention, compassionate support to guide you through every step, a proven track record. They're available 24/7, will work tirelessly to maximize your compensation you deserve, and they work with a no-win, no-fee policy, so you don't pay unless they win your case, which ensures you receive justice without the financial risk. If you're in need of an injury lawyer, then look no further and call Andrew Lopez Law PC at 213-474-1100 for your free consultation. And once again, that number is 213-474-1100. And also follow Andrew Lopez Law on Instagram at Andrew Lopez Law PC. And once again, their Instagram handle is Andrew Lopez Law PC. One last time, that number is 213-474-1100 for Andrew Lopez Law to fight for your injuries.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Hello, PTG Nation. Welcome to episode number 268 with legend of the game. We have none other than Bryan Smith from Tampa Bay Damage. Can't thank you enough for joining us, dude. How you doing?
Doing great, guys. I'm happy to be here and on the show for the first time.
I know.
It's crazy. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that makes no sense. It's not right that it's taken this many to get you on the show. You're an elusive character. I feel like we were probably scared to reach out. You kind of stay in your lane and just shoot everybody on the field and walk off. That's it.
That's what I try to do. That's what my wife says all the time. She's like, "You're such an introvert." Well, she's like, "You need to get out and just talk more. And explore more." I'm like, okay. So.
Well, dude, we're honored to have you. They don't call him Agent Smith for nothing. You know what I'm saying? He's elusive. He's out there getting it done. In my opinion, one of the best players in the game. Whenever you step on the field, you're going to make a direct impact to the field out there. You are extremely intelligent when it comes to playing great team paintball and have one of the nastiest shots in the game. So it's crazy that it took us 260 episodes to finally have you on, but I'm stoked to have you on and tell your story. So let's just start with where you at? Let the people know where you're tuned in from and how you're doing today.
Well, I'm at home today. I'm from Lakeland, Florida. That's where Legacy is. And I've been, playing for Damage since 2008. I did take a short hiatus just to pursue further educational goals and start a new career. And
amazing. What education did you dive into?
Firefighter.
Yes. Okay. We have some questions about that actually from our community.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. We'll dive into that later.
Okay. But and then once I kind of got off the work probation, I was able to come back and start shooting people again and hanging out with the guys and having a good time and traveling and facing off against you guys.
Yeah. Well, you're a pillar in paintball and an absolute pillar in the Damage camp. It's not the same camp without you. And the fact that you've been around for, what is it now? Coming up on 16 years, right around there. You have a really good understanding of how the cadence and the flow of the team goes, and you guys all work really hard together. So kind of talk to me about, the Damage experience. I had the pleasure of playing for the squad for a little bit and hanging out with you guys. So I know exactly, how much fun and how hard you all work. But let the people know what it's like, being a part of the Damage fam.
Well, it goes even further back than Damage. A lot of us played together on the Docks Raiders or the Jacksonville Raiders.
That's right.
You guys recall, playing against the Sin. And then even further back than that on Team Strange, which, most of us went from Strange to the Raiders and then Damage. But we've, formed a brotherhood and we've just stuck it out together and, we've just become a unit and we're just very cohesive and we know kind of what each other's tendencies are. And it's just, it's just that long history of just playing together and, becoming best friends. So, it doesn't come without hard work though. We still out there putting in the time, the work. We don't just show up the 2 weekends before practice and, make it happen. We're out there sometimes during the week. A lot of the guys, we usually have a squad every weekend. Unfortunately, we didn't make it out the other day or a couple weeks ago when Marcelo was down playing with the New York boys because, we had a hurricane coming, which of course now we got
guys were there though. Some of the guys.
Yeah.
There's always Damage players at the field, period. That's something if you follow Keith Brown, he's always at the field and you see other Damage players with them. And that's what it takes to be at the top. You can't just show up for the 2 weekends before an event and expect to come in and beat players that are playing this game every single day. That's kind of crazy to believe, and some teams do believe that.
Right.
Yeah. The more time together, the better.
Yeah. And I feel like if you're not out there every weekend putting in the work, you're a step behind. And, especially, you got the Russian camp out there. Those guys, that's what they do. They're I wouldn't say they're out there every single day, but I think they have a minimum requirement where they have to be out there 3 days a week putting in the time. So if you're not getting better, somebody else is getting better. So you got to consistently, have your foot on the gas and be present.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Go ahead. If you're
Mark.
not getting better, somebody else is. I love that because you're right.
Right.
People, if you get complacent, somebody is looking to take over that top spot.
Right.
You know, and you're right. It's through hard work, dedication, consistency.
Right. And, I'm a firm believer if, and you guys probably are too. And it's just a cliche is like, the more you do something, the better are you going to be at it, So, whether it's basketball, football, whatever it is you want to be great at, you have to, put the work in or put the time in. It's a commitment. Otherwise you can't become complacent because someone else is putting that work in.
Yeah.
Yeah. You kind of got to be crazy about your craft. And like to other people, it's going to look wild. They won't even understand who you are or why you do the things you do because they probably aren't as attached to something or as crazy about something as we all are about our craft. But to the outside perspective, when they like even my wife and kids, they see, how hard I work and how like, oh, you're leaving again. Okay. I'm like, I'm leaving again. I got to do these things, this is what it takes. I want to make sure that I give my best for my team and for the family, for everyone that's involved. So we're not wasting time. And man, there's no substitute for hard work. And I want to kind of dive into your history and talk about like how you started in the game, kind of get the grassroots of how this all began. And then if you can kind of take us through that lineage up into the modern day of where we're at. It doesn't have to be anything lengthy, but just kind of going through your timeline of how you got to where you are today.
Right. Well, I mean, I've been playing paintball since the dinosaurs were around, for real. I mean, just as long as you guys, probably back in 1999, 1998 is when I first picked up a paintball gun. We all got paintball guns for Christmas and, just kind of took off from there. And I was always an adrenaline junkie. Grew up racing dirt bikes, broke a lot of bones and was like, okay, I'm tired of wearing a cast. And, so, I mean, the paintball stuck and I enjoyed doing it, and every time you're out there, you just get that excitement, you're shooting projectiles at somebody else and they're shooting back at you. So it just, took off from there. So,
ultimate thrill, man. There's nothing quite like playing paintball.
Right. So, and just, one thing led to another, local team to national team to, back then it was, rookie, novice, amateur. There wasn't, those were the divisions. And then you work your ways up and finally made on Team Strange and went from there. So.
Did you start with just like your local friends at your local fields and kind of, was it like 3-man or 5v5? How did that kind of start?
Yes, it was 3-man and it was just actually some local friends that we just, formed a 3-man team and just traveled around and pretty much played every weekend.
Yeah.
And then, 3-man went to 5-man and then to 10-man. So, I didn't even have a driver's license. A buddy of mine was always picking me up and taking me to the paintball field or the tournament, so
same.
So
I remember those days. And it's funny to think back to then because it was very simple when it came to divisions. There was 4 of them, you had the rookie, novice, amateur A and B. So I guess maybe there's, and then you had the pro. And I do want to dive into like Strange, the OG 10-man paintball. These are some of the golden years of our game. These events, I'll never forget going to my very first World Cup. I think it was in 2001 or 2002. It was the last one. It was the one where Solom shot from the woods. That was my first World Cup.
Yep.
And the event was massive. It broke my brain. I was like, this is crazy how big this paintball tournament is. I had a golf cart that we had for our team. I'm driving around on a golf cart at 11 years old. I'm like, this is the best day of my life. This is amazing.
Yep.
So the 10v10 paintball scene was booming. Kind of talk to us about what it was like being a part of that and playing for Team Strange. Because those were really, really amazing times. I actually just got some magazines from John Amadea, who used to work with PB2X. I think he's still heavily involved, but he sent me over some magazines. I was flipping through them and just reminiscing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, when I joined Team Strange, X-Ball was, finally was just coming out. So when I was on playing 10-man, I was on static, battling against the Cat Factory guys and who else was it? All Stars or Bueller All-Stars. You remember them? So,
yep.
But yeah, it was just a different game than what we're playing today. It was more, we weren't shooting practically full auto or ramping. It was autocockers and intimidators were just coming out. So, obviously we've evolved a lot since then, but definitely, larger fields, larger lanes. It was just, like I said, a different type of paintball when, we had to change the game or evolve with the game when X-Ball came out, so, but yeah, it was fun. Just a lot of people on the field at one time, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it was a good time, and like I said, we've evolved. So
yeah, it's very difficult. Even today, we have to think about 10 players on the field at any given moment in time, right? That's what the best players are doing. They're thinking about all 10 players on the field. When you add another 10 to that formula, it gets pretty dynamic and complicated. So the things that like Lasoya was doing in these 10v10 games, or Oliver, when they were slicing and dicing through these huge camps, it was people were like, wow, look at these plays, it was crazy.
When I think of 10-man, though, I think of Chicago Badlands when you have the zipper field, and then you have the hyperball field, snake field, where you can crawl down to the other side and you're just covered in paint, but you're not shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, those were fun times, and like you said, there was just bigger moves. You could much more likely, I guess, to do a run through, I guess, if you would, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, Marcus Nielsen, he coined the run through.
Yeah,
the dream. Let's go, baby.
That's right.
Yeah, I think a lot of that too was the fact that we played on bigger fields. That's why I still miss 7-man. It was kind of a good in between of the 10-man hyperball fields and what we play now. 7-man was on airball, so it was sporty, but the fields were a little bigger, a little longer. I think it promoted those kind of moves. You can kind of break it down a little bit better. Now the fields are so condensed. It's really hard to get through some of these zones and some of these gaps, which you can make the argument that it makes the moves that do happen that much more special. But I think we would see some more of them, and some more dynamic play if the fields could be a little longer. Maybe the dimensions of the old 7-man fields. I would even be a fan of having, like, we talk about this too, like maybe one event a year is 7-man. That'd be kind of cool. And it's part of like the actual series. Like I think, why are we so like rigid and married to this is the only way to play paintball? I think there's many ways to play paintball.
Right. Yeah, that would be cool and different, and exciting.
Yeah. Or a one-off, like totally different type of, it's not part of the NXL, or it's part of the NXL. It's not part of like the main pro circuit, but have like a one-off 7-man tournament, with a big grand prize. Like someone needs to come in and do that. People would play. People would play.
Yep. I remember Miami back in the day. It was like a $50K prize.
Yeah.
And ESPN actually televised that tournament, and it was an awesome tournament down there on Miami Beach. So
yeah, that was epic.
Yeah.
I was just getting started in tournament paintball. That was 05. Yeah, that was my first year with Aftermath. I believe for Miami, we actually bumped up to Division 1 for 7-man. And I remember that was when Dynasty won that one, right? Is that right? Yep. Yes, being out there with Hinman and all them is epic.
Yep. And Oliver had the epic run through, and I think it was against the Naughty Dogs, and 4 or 5 guys. Oh yeah, that was that's that was like an iconic move in paintball.
Totally, absolutely was.
Yeah, man, those moments are timeless. I know.
Yep.
I think it would be amazing to see like Dynasty's 10 players versus Damage's 10 players, or Houston Heat's 10 players versus X Factor's 10 players on a huge field. I think there would be so much excitement in a crazy game like that. And I don't believe that there was the type of technology to capture those moments the way that we can today. Like back in the day, these amazing things were happening, but we didn't have the technology to capture it. But we do have that kind of technology to really capture all those crazy moments. And there's something really thrilling about that many players being on a field. So it would be cool to see a spin-off or some type of way that we can make that happen someday.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Bryan, I have a question because you're known as one of the smartest players in the league. Tyler, you as well, Rainey, Greenspan. A lot of your teammates, some of the old school players. Now, obviously, they've been playing longer than most other players in the league, so you're naturally going to be a smarter player than maybe some of the newer players. My question is, do you think that it's simply time behind the gun that has created that, or the fact that we came up in a different era playing a different style of paintball that has kind of downloaded us with like these different variables that could happen, playing 10-man hyperball, 7-man, with different types of fields. And we've gone through a lot of changes up until this point.
Right.
So is it just simply that we've been playing for 20 years, or is it the fact that we, started in the woods and played that kind of paintball? And then, you know what I'm getting at? What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, a little bit of everything. Yes, time behind the gun, but I'm going to start off. I'm going to say if you're slow, you got to be smart. So I'm not Keith Brown or Alex Goldman fast. So you got to be smart if you're going to be slow, or if you're going to be slow, you got to be smart. So
slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Smooth is fast, exactly. we have that term all the time at work. So but yeah, I mean, definitely experience does play a big toll, but a lot of it could be also just overthinking things. You know what I mean? A newer generational player could maybe overthink it, and is this smart or is this not smart? But yeah, I think the era that we grew up in, is it was more methodical. It wasn't just run as far as you can, crawl down as far as you can, and then shoot as many people as you can. It was more of, okay, one bunker at a time. What do you have from this bunker? What can you accomplish from here? And, putting a time on a good shot. So, I think it comes down to experience, time behind the gun, and old age.
The main reason I ask is for the listeners. A lot of kids that are listening to the podcast, or a lot of the D3, D2 semi-pro players today, they've only played this iteration of paintball. You talk to them about playing in the woods. I've never played in the woods. I don't want to play in the woods. I'm like, go play in the woods. Take the team out and play some hyperball. Play a woods ball tournament. Play a 10-man tournament, because it's going to make you a better paintball player. And I do believe that, and that's kind of what I was getting to. Of course, time behind the gun is probably the most important thing, but I do think playing, it's kind of the same thing of going and playing in different leagues in different countries, right? You play against different styles. It's the same game we're playing, on the same size field, the same, format, but the styles are totally different. So you're seeing things that you wouldn't see if you're just playing over here. And I think that does something to how you look at fields and how you approach communication and how you kind of approach decision making,
Yeah, that's a great point. But yeah, just being around paintball is going to make you a better paintball player. I remember growing up, whenever I was, going through the divisions, even if I wasn't playing a local tournament, I'd go out, and because I didn't have the money or whatever the scenario was, didn't have a team, I wouldn't ref it. And just to be around it, just to witness what other people did and how they did things, or how could I improve, or how can I incorporate what they did in my own game. So great point. Just get out there and experience it all, whether it's on a hyperball field, in the woods, or X ball. And I know it's not really an X in the middle of the field anymore, but I see sometimes on social media where they, have laid the X down, kind of like the plywood fields that they would, and put in the X pattern, or the spool ball fields. That was cool back in the day. So just being exposed to all that was a lot of fun and good experience.
Yeah. If you're in love with it, you got to be around it. And that's when I was a youngster, I would be out cleaning, someone would break paint and they're like, oh, I don't want it, it's all broken. I'd be cleaning it, or be at the field, like you said, reffing the tournaments, doing whatever that I could to just be inundated in this thing that I love so much. I know it's an expensive sport, but there's so many ways that you can still be a part of it and learn and grow without having to shell out any money. I mean, even this very last tournament, we lost and we're out of the tournament. I'm still in the pit areas, walking around. I'm watching all the teams that are still in the event. I'm studying what they're doing, how they're moving, how their energy is, what they're talking about. Like, how are they approaching the game? Different ways that maybe we can implement into our training or our camp or our way of thinking. But there's always ways that you can become better if you truly, genuinely love the craft and love what you're doing. You're going to find ways to get creative and be a part of it and, like, you know, make yourself better in any way possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I find myself doing the exact same thing, just studying other players that are great. For example, both of you guys, you know, how you hold, I mean, just any little inch that you can gain is it's like a mile. Mm-hmm. Even like just how you hold the gun, or how you snap shoot, or do you have an extended reg versus a shorter reg? Just all the small things can add up so much to make such a big difference. So yeah, I try to study other players and see what they're doing that maybe I can incorporate and just be better, you know?
Always. Yeah, that's what it's all about. And I mean, you've been a pro for quite some time now. How many years have you been playing pro ball?
Since 2003 is when I started playing for teams training. Yeah, so 21 years.
Bro,
there we go.
Yeah, so I did, like I said, I did take a short 3 or 4 hiatus.
Yeah,
but
you're in the game.
Yeah. It's like riding a bike. I came back and put the time in and jumped right back into it.
That's right. So how have you managed to stay so competitive and motivated through all the different iterations and all those years moving into right now in this very moment?
Well, I mean, anything you do, you want to be great at, right? You don't want to, I mean, I was raised to, you know, if you're going to do something, do it right. You know, whether you're going to be a garbage man, be the best garbage man you can be. You know what I mean? So, for me, I just, you know, if I'm going to put time into something, I want to be the best at it. So, that's kind of like the backbone to, you know, what has pushed me and continue to, you know, try to be great and good. But also, you know, the camaraderie with, you know, the brotherhood that we have with the boys. So, you know,
is there a rattlesnake by you? Is there something about to attack you? What was that?
Cicadas.
What's that?
It's the cicadas, I think.
Oh, is that what it is?
It sounds like a rattlesnake.
It's a, I don't know. I'm outside, so it's probably
in Florida.
I'm from Arizona, so I hear that sound and I'm automatically like, hey, what has he got?
Well, it's picking up some good sound. It's crickets or something out in the trees or something.
I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good. So that's kind of what has pushed me so many years is, you know, you find something you're good at, you usually stick with it. And so I've just continue to try to just be better. And, you know, obviously winning is fun and contagious, and, so that's kind of what's,
I think the process is the more fun part. And you kind of touched on it, you know, that you were taught and raised, whatever it is you do, be the best at it. But you don't just say, I want to be the best at something, and then you're the best at it. It's the process of what it takes to become at the top of anything. And it doesn't matter what it is, but that's like really where the fun is. And I've said this on the show many times. Once I lose the desire to get better, that's probably when I'll hang it up, because that's what's fun for me, you know, is like actively trying to find ways to improve, even if it's small improvements. You know, it doesn't matter how big or small the improvement is, as long as it's in that direction. Once you like plateau and you're just, you know, content, that's when I think it no longer becomes fun. You know, even if you show up to events and you have some success, like the results aren't as fun as the process, at least to me. But I think that's how probably a lot of high-end competitors are, you know?
Right. No, that's a good point. That's exactly the mentality that you got to have if you want to be great at anything. So, but yeah, that's kind of how I've lived by in whatever I get involved in. So,
that's right.
Good point.
It's on and off the field. You can take those same principles that you're talking about right now that you apply to the game and apply them to your lifestyle and change your entire life. And that's one of the greatest things I think about paintball is it is such an amazing microcosm of the macro of real life. You know, you can take all these principles from inside the field, how to be selfless, how to serve others, how to communicate, how to go above and beyond and have grit and all these things, and take them and apply them into your everyday life. And it can be a life-changing game. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And growing up, my paintball gave me guidance. So, you know, my parents utilized it when I was in school. They're like, hey, you make good grades. Well, let's keep playing paintball. So I was like, all right. And so in high school, you know, fortunately I did well and they let me play paintball. So it kind of carried over. It just kind of kept me focused in life and kept me out of trouble. And I am where I am today. And that's a big, you know, paintball played a big part of that in life for me. But good point.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, I grew up in the Central Valley, Northern California, in Modesto, and you know, it's a wild little valley in there, and people are having fun. You know, and thankfully, I found paintball at a young age and was able to travel and same thing. I was not able to play unless I got good grades. So I would be, you know, taking my homework on the plane to the hotel, doing it all there, and the teachers would support me because they're like, "Oh, he's out there, you know, trying to be somebody, trying to go make something happen," you know? So it is a life-changing game in so many aspects. And we hear that all day long through the show, through our community. So that's another reason why I know we're all still involved in this, because we know the impact it has on so many people's lives as well. It has saved a lot of people, and we've been able to see that directly through this game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it played a huge impact on my life. And like you said, it's just, you know, it keeps you, I mean, it not only keeps me focused, but, you know, it gives me something to not only, you know, I have a wonderful family and a great career, but it gives me other, you know, it's something to look forward to with the boys, you know what I mean? It's just, it keeps that competitive drive in us.
Yeah.
Or it keeps it alive, you know? So, but yeah, it's definitely changed my life. And, you know, even off the field, just the preparation, the commitments, you know, staying in shape, eating healthy. It's done so much for me.
Okay, hold on. Now you're speaking my language. Okay, so you're saying that there's kind of like a little bit of a formula to this, you know, nutrition, working out. I'm sure you pick up your gun and you shoot it. You play a little paintball, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a formula to this, and also the film room. I would imagine you probably watch film. You probably study, like you said, like we were talking about earlier. You probably are watching everything that you can to see what your opponents are doing. There's this old quote. It's like, you know yourself and you know your opponent, and it's pretty hard to get beat that way, right? So if you do all that kind of work, you're going to have a big leg up on the competition that is not doing that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's a great point. But yeah, that's, you know, that's why I am where I am today, you know, you know, just making those commitments and putting in that extra work, and almost 40 years old. So I got to keep it with the young bucks somehow, you know?
Hey, you're good, dude. You're just getting started, man.
Yeah.
Just getting started.
That's what I keep trying to tell myself too. So.
Well, the good thing is it's a thinking man's game, and nobody can outrun a paintball. So like you said, you know, it definitely helps to have speed, but you still can't outrun a paintball. Those things go, I think, 200 miles an hour. So you can play as long as the mind is sharp and your skills are good, you know, reflexes are still good.
And lots of ice baths, and I need a couple days. I need Monday and Tuesday off at the gym, and a lot of supplements.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. 100%. You know,
as I've gotten older, my whole bag's just supplements and like just health stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, even if it's just a placebo effect, makes me feel like I'm doing the right stuff.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, the days off are important. It took a long time for me to realize that you need 1 or 2 days off. Like I would go straight from a long weekend of practice, Monday straight into the gym, and I still sometimes do it. I'm like, okay, Tuesday, relax, just go to the gym, do some like light cardio, and sit in the sauna. How about that? Let's not like, you know, we don't need to build Rome in a day.
Right.
You know, let's give ourselves some rest and you know, be healthy. I think that's, you know, helped with injury and just my overall well-being too. Like I would work out, and this is, you know, just a few years ago, I would work out so much, but I was always so tired. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like always active. I'm in the gym. I'm eating well. I'm doing all the right things. I'm hydrated. Just simply overtraining, which is a thing too. Just simply overtraining. The body's like, the mind was more tired than the body. The body wasn't that tired. It was the mind. The mind was tired. I'm like, okay, I need a day of like really focus on breathing and actually meditate, actually just slow my mind down and not, don't be on social media. Don't scroll. Don't do that stuff. Let the mind just kind of fully regenerate. And there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that, it takes a lot of discipline too. It's not easy because the mind wants to roam. The mind wants to do stuff, and especially if you're a type A personality, you want to constantly be checking things off your list because it makes you feel like you're getting stuff done. But really, it's okay to just kind of let go and sit back for a moment, relax and come back the next day and you'll check more stuff off the list. You'll feel better about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. That's, you always want to accomplish something and you feel like I was saying before, if you're not moving or putting in the time and you feel like you're getting behind, but in reality, especially when you it could be, but when you get up there in age or,
it's part of the growth plan.
It's probably exactly. You have to take a step back. Like I didn't play last weekend. I was like, I need a weekend off. I'm gonna spend some time with the family. I'm going to let my knees relax a little because they're screaming at me right now. But yes, absolutely. You got to sometimes just take a step back and just heal.
Yeah. Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show.
Well, let's dive into that because you absolutely earned a week off. Congratulations for winning the Windy City Major.
Yeah,
Damage looked really good. You guys had a tough road on Sunday too, and you guys took down an X Factor team that just put a beating on Red Legion, who has been really dominant the last two events. So, it was a tough matchup, and Damage was also coming off of some struggle this season. The team hasn't looked completely right, and this event, you guys look back in full form. Let's kind of talk about that. Was there a change in any preparation, or were you guys kind of steady, throughout this whole season, like understanding that, sometimes things just don't go your way, and the process was right because heading into this season, it looked like you guys were practicing almost more than any other team. And I remember heading into Vegas, I was like, Damage is going to be really sharp. And then it just didn't come to fruition that way. So let's kind of talk about that process.
Yeah. Vegas wasn't our sharpest tournament. We had some setbacks. I just don't feel like we figured out the field fast enough because it was that wasn't a blind layout, was it? No, that came out the week before.
It was an odd layout.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It was the mirror
spiral.
Right. So I just feel like we didn't figure out the field quick enough. And, we had some, I guess, off the field issues, but, just, we had a bad tournament and everybody does have a bad tournament. It just happens. Unfortunately, so, but then we came back the next two tournaments, made Sunday, just didn't advance. I believe we lost to Shock and Red Legion the following two tournaments, but we made Sunday. Which both teams are on fire right now and just playing incredible. So hats off to them. I think we lost by, Red Legion crushed us, but I want to say it was a close match against Aftershock in the Longhorn makeup tournament. So anyhow, I feel like after that, we kind of did, a reset button. We need to figure out what's going on. And we were practicing a lot in the off season. We do practice a lot on our own time, but we know there's some changes before this tournament, which is public. We know new sponsorships and
welcome to the family.
Yeah,
we're riding together. AHSBIZ Army. Let's go.
So it was we were very fortunate because everything was great. And I'm not here to trash any old sponsors or I'm here to say that we that the paint that we shot, Vulcan paint in Midway
yes.
or Windy City?
Windy City, Chicago. We could do it.
Chicago, yeah,
for 20 years.
right.
Now it's the Windy City Major. It's like,
yeah, it was amazing. It was ball on ball. It broke almost like a Halloween lime green
neon
slime. Yeah, it was awesome. And whenever you get a paintball, even at practice, even if it's like a field paint and it's shooting straight, even if you're bouncing people, but it's ball on ball shooting straight, you're like your game just elevates. And because wherever you aim that gun and that ball goes, you're getting kills.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that made a big difference. But we I think we all just said, hey, like, we just need to go out there and do our jobs instead of trying to worry about what the other person's doing or just trying to do too much. Let's just go out there. Let's do our part. We don't have to all go out there and try to shoot 5 guys each. Let's just go out there and do our part. And that's what we did. And, obviously the results, speak for themselves, but it was just a really good field for us too. We shooting a lot of people on the break, and we were making our bunkers on the break. So that makes a huge difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and we also, our communication was dialed in, which was huge. We always preach that at every practice, every tournament. And I think that this tournament, our communication was the best it's ever been this year. So I think that played a big role in it.
Yeah, and Keith was having a tournament, man. Oh my God. Yeah, I was playing out of his mind.
Yeah, Keith was obviously MVP, and he was. I'm glad he's on Damage. So, but yeah, he's amazing. He, I don't know, that guy shot a lot of people last weekend. So, yeah, yeah,
it takes a team. It takes a
team,
and like you look at like Mouse's situation right now. It's unreal to watch that team go 0-4, even though, again, I felt like I was saying this all last year, and I'm still saying it. Oh, by the way, that's kind of breaking news. Cody Mikowski got picked up by Revo.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people saw that on social media. But I mean, they lose a 1-point game to Impact that they should have won. They lose a 1-point game to X Factor that they should have won. They got a major in the last 15 seconds. That was the go-ahead point for X Factor. And it's like, you guys are right there, just don't turn on each other. And this thing is going to get figured out. Right. But it seems like they're struggling to do that. But my point is, you'll watch Mouse go and have these just insane points, these insane moments.
Right.
But it's not equaling wins for the team, because it does take a team. You need you need a smart player behind to be able to close. You need a good communicator. You need someone that can do the same kind of damage over on the other side. And it's like, that's your guys' team. It's really balanced across the board. You guys have all the pieces. And I don't think some team owners understand, like, building a team, you need players that do different things on the field that can come together and create this, like, kind of this, masterpiece on a paintball field. It takes an eclectic style of players to do that. You can't have, 5 Keith Browns. Like, that would not win a tournament. You can't have 5 Bryan Smiths. That wouldn't win a tournament either. Maybe it would. That one might win. Yeah. You play all the deals. But like, you need variety, and you need different styles. Like on Dynasty, it's like, that's why Blake is so valuable to me, is because he plays a style that nobody else on our team can play. And he changes the way teams play against us, whether it's like super consistent or not. It doesn't really matter, because teams have to worry about him 100% of the points. Whether he has success 100% of the points is irrelevant, and then, you have players like Arturo or Archie that can play their style. And then Chris Shear, like, they all play a little differently. And then, my game's much slower, but I think it complements what they do really well. So those are the teams that have success. And it's like, if you don't have that or understand that from a coaching perspective, I think you struggle. I think Diesel has kind of experienced that a little bit. It seems like all the players they pick up, it's like, okay, it's another snake guy. It's another snake guy. It's another snake guy.
Yeah.
And then they did get Cody, and then, he's the one they end up letting go. And I'm like, I scratching my head just a little bit. But yeah.
Well, that could have been a personal decision. I don't. Who knows right now at this point? It's too new to know. But yeah, there's got to be a like you said, a balance, but there's also got to be like a cohesiveness, and I feel like players fit well in certain camps. For example, maybe Mouse, he's going out there and doing what he's got to do and getting the job done to the best of his ability. Like you said, it takes a team to win. But, here's a perfect example. We picked up Dalton on
Great
Damage
example.
10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago or so. And he wasn't the same Dalton that was on Dynasty.
Right.
And we, it's just, obviously gelled with the guys, but his style of play, I don't know, just didn't fit the camp, if you will. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, I don't know if that's what's going on in the Diesel camp. They obviously have a lot to figure out, and they're right there. It's just, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's just, I feel like all 5 of those guys are trying to go out and win it themselves, rather than going out and just doing their part, and playing as a team, right? So, and like you said, you're not going to win single-handedly. You're going to have to win as a team. So, they might figure it out. They might,
Yeah, we're going to see.
I don't know. We're going to find out.
You're absolutely right. And it's funny, like Malloy's kind of one of those players. For years, there was always talk of like him going to Impact or leaving Red Legion. And then I think Red Legion has total control over his ability to come to the States, like all sorts of stuff. And so like, of course, I think any team would, initially you would love to have Malloy on your team. How could it be a bad fit? But you never know. It could be too aggressive, and like it could not gel because of communication issues. And Red Legion is run much differently than any other team. Like he's kind of allowed to do whatever he wants. So I know when the talk was him going to Impact is a very system-based team. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the best fit unless you change your system to kind of fit him. Then it could be a good fit, but and maybe you do that for a player of that caliber. But I totally agree with you. Systems on teams are like really important. That's why, again, I think you guys picking up Rainey was such a hugely strategic and intelligent move. Like that kind of fits perfectly as far as the system, in my opinion.
It does.
And you see some of these moves that some of these teams make, and I agree. I kind of sit back and I'm like, don't think that player is going to have the success over there. It's just not the right fit,
Right.
But yeah, that's a pretty big one for sure.
All right, let's dive into the finals match with X Factor. Kind of break down how that went, because you guys handled that pretty decisively. So kind of walk us through that finals match from start to finish from your perspective.
Yeah. So point 1, they came out swinging. They shot KB off the break and just crawled down the snake immediately and prevented fill outs. So, and that was a tough point to try to recover from or try to bounce back from, trying to get out wide once they shoot your wide guy and they crawl down to your snake. So they took point 1. But from there on out, I feel like we kind of just regrouped. We made our bunkers, communicated, and obviously KB went to work. So point 2, we took point 2. I'm trying to think what went down there. I think, we just shot a couple of them off the break and then shot them trying to fill their bunkers. Yeah. And I think we won the next 3 points because we went up 5-1. And I don't think we didn't do anything. They were faster to the punch in the snake. Axel was getting in the snake much faster than us, but we would just try to keep him buried just so we can match him. And I think he was just getting ahead of his team, almost kind of like Malloy was doing on the Russians. He was just trying to go up there and do it all himself and getting into our snake, and then we would just counter punch, take him out, and then go down to the snake and then take care of business. So points.
Is that something that you guys are decisively talking about during the match? Like Joey's, I want to dive into that as well, being coached by Joey and how he approaches the game, because he's masterful. But is that something that you guys are in the moment saying, okay, here's the threat, here's how we address it, boom, take that out, and we're going to move this way, right?
I mean, yes and no sometimes. Obviously, we want to be in the snake just as fast, or on,
of course, but when you're up in those situations, it's like situational. When you're up on points, you can play it a little bit differently,
right? But I think the way that field laid out was
you got to move.
You got to move, right? You got to get in the snake and you got to match them.
Yeah.
But we were having most success getting to the corner and then making secondaries into the snake. Sometimes, obviously, we'd send Keith to the snake off the break and we would match him, but I want to say most of the finals match, Keith took the corner on the break, and then either I slid underneath him or he would go in and match Axel from there.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes it does. We do strategize that way where, hey, let them in the snake first. We'll bury them, and then we'll counterpunch D side or however the field lays out. You know what I mean? You got to kind of take the way I look at it is when I'm trying to figure out a field is I try to figure out what's the field going to give me, right? What can I have with minimal effort, and then what am I going to have to earn? What's going to be most difficult, right? So, the outsides of this field layout were given, right? There wasn't a lot of, you could make any Dorito you wanted to basically in the snake or the corner for the most part. The guys that were most vulnerable were in the middle.
Those interior spots.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I think we focused on. We were actually shooting a lot of their guys out of the middle. And
the supports.
The supports, and kind of leaving Axel out there by himself, or was it Stitzel was the lead guy on their D side. So anyhow, but so we took points 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I don't, obviously Keith Brown was playing lights out. He was just one ball and people, just animal going off. So that's how it went down.
That was it. Yeah.
There's not really a lot to say about it. It was like they beat us the first point. They came out and punched us in the face, and we shook it off and said, okay, well, here we come. So I think we saw a lot of, like I said, we picked on their guys in the middle, and then we also, like I said, they beat us to the snake, but we counterpunched them, and then would bring it back down the snake, and then I feel like it's how we won. So.
Yeah, that was something that Impact did really well as well. They shot me going to that can off the break like 3 times. And, we played, I think, 5 points.
Right.
So it was imperative to have those shots dialed in off the break there. And then you guys played Impact as well to get into the finals. And that was a good one as well with them.
Yeah, that was a close one. I think it was only a 1-point game at the end, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was kind of almost same thing. It was, you're not shooting many people going wide. Let's pick on the middle guys. And it was, if you didn't, and my belief was if you didn't float, and the other team would float and would tee off on that. That was the way to try to tee off on the guys running wide and get those shots dialed in on off the break. Was by floating. So if you didn't float,
cross,
that's probably how you got shot by, who was it? Impact,
Nick Laval.
He would, if y'all didn't float, he'd probably just stand off the board going, all right, I'm about, I'm about to tee off. You know what I mean? So, it was an interesting field. It was a fun field though too.
It was really fun and very creative and methodical too. It's, very smart plays going on the snake side, Dorito side, off the break especially. We saw a lot of really intelligent moves and shots being applied, which was fun to watch. And they've been doing a phenomenal job. Shout out to Trosen. He's been cooking up some great fields. And I'm curious to see what we're going to have here in, just a few short weeks. We'll have the World Cup layout and start looking at all that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The whole team's looking forward to it. Obviously coming off a win.
Yeah.
But it's, it's our backyard. It's our hometown. Yeah. We got home field advantage, if you will. And it's hot down here, so y'all better start prepping.
Hey, I'm in the desert, boy.
It always is. It's a different heat, though. It's a different heat.
Yeah.
I know. I go to Texas quite a bit, too, and we train out in Texas a lot. And it definitely is a much different heat. But even when it'll be 110 degrees out here and I'll go for a run at 3 p.m. I'm like, all right, let's sizzle.
Yeah. And we're actually right now we're prepping for a hurricane. So it's,
geez.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah.
So,
well, be safe, everybody out there. Definitely.
Does it seem like there's just been more hurricanes the last couple of years there? I don't know. Maybe it's just social media. And so you see it more. But you've obviously lived there your whole life. Is it a little crazier right now? Is it getting crazier?
Nah, I'd say it's just the same. I mean, every year,
so it's living here, to have like 4 a
year. Yeah, living here, you're just kind of expected, and it's just one after another. It's just a matter of does it come up and hit Florida, or does it go off hit Texas or Louisiana? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say there's any change. It's you're just used to it by the time if you live here. So
Yeah, you got like boards for the windows and all that kind of stuff ready.
I mean, you could, but I don't. I'll just replace the window. I mean, but I mean, which I don't want to do that either. But it's more or less just trying to get your yard cleaned up and make sure you don't have any flying objects to to hurt anybody or mess up your neighbors. Come through the windows or mess your neighbor's house up or whatever. So, and like I said, I work for the fire department, so I have to go to work, and my wife and kids get left here alone. So, which I mean, they're troopers. They'll be okay. Yeah, they'll be okay, and I make sure they're taken care of before I go to work. But
of course,
it's mandatory that they call us in because we'll have
help.
Yeah, people need help, but at some point we don't even respond to emergencies anymore because the wind speed is so you push over a fire truck. You know what I mean, going down the road. So, but they don't want anybody driving to work during any of the I guess you would say the bands that are coming through the hurricane. It's pretty dangerous. So but yeah,
so they call you in for the whole time. They want you there early, and then you kind of stay through it, is what you're saying?
Right. So we're expecting a hurricane Thursday afternoon, I believe it is. So they'll call everybody in Thursday morning, and we'll kind of just be piled on top of each other at the fire station. Because it's not meant for that many people in such a small space, but we make it work. So,
hey, you got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah, that's what we signed up for. So,
and thank you to you and all of the fire department and everybody out there who helps in these situations, because it's crazy. Some of these things get pretty wild, and thank God we have everyone who's working so hard like you guys do and girls to make sure that people are safe and doing everything we can to help people out there. Because it gets crazy. Some of those hurricanes have been insane, especially the past 5 years or whatever. It's been wild.
Yeah. And you're probably thinking we get more than we usually do, because the last couple of times you've been here in Florida,
we've been here.
There's a hurricane. I mean, a World Cup, 2 years ago, they had to cancel Thursday or Friday, whatever day it was.
Right.
And a couple months ago, you're here, there's a hurricane.
Exactly. I was going to say, I've been in Florida more than usual. So I guess that makes sense that I'm seeing it more. But I'm like, man, it's getting crazy out here. It seems like every time I open my phone, there's another hurricane coming.
Right.
Yeah. But y'all be safe out there. And I got one question to ask you before we dive into our Discord. We have a PTG World Discord community, and they got some questions. They're really excited that you're on the show. But I'm just wondering, do you have any pregame rituals or anything, any unique routines or superstitions or anything like that before you play?
I'm definitely superstitious.
Yeah.
For me though, I try to, warm up just like anybody. And I feel like if I can keep my heart rate elevated, I play better. Just like when I go to the gym, I like to wear a sweater or something because I cool off so fast and I just get lazy and unmotivated. You know what I mean? So, I try to do, just keep my heart rate up. But superstition is I go over to the same air station. So if I win the first point, I use that same air station. So there's two air stations. You got two valves or two pigtails.
Oh, I'm gonna watch whatever air station you go to. You go win that point. I'm gonna go make sure it's broken. Take that O-ring out.
I'm like timeout. If we lose, I go to the other one. I'm like, all right, I'm not using that one. It's funny. I'll come off the field and we win a point, and there'll be somebody on that air station, and they're like, that one's open. I'm like, I want that one. I'll wait. Get out of the way.
I love that, dude. Hey, it's you gotta have fun with this stuff, man. You gotta have fun.
That's great. I like that. That's weird because I actually really like using the same air station too. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's a superstition. I can use the other one, but there's something, maybe it's an OCD thing, but like I always like to use the same air station, and I will wait too sometimes. Like how the ones are usually like fatter, and then you have the normal ones. I don't like the fatter ones, so I really try not to use those ones for some reason. Yeah, that's funny.
But I mean, I got a couple more superstitions, I guess. I try to use all clear pods. I don't know. I just don't like colored pods. So.
Yeah, I don't like the colored ones either. Sometimes you got to do it.
See what's going on in them. You know what's happening with your paint,
right?
Yeah. The solid pods are no good. Like 100%. If the clear ones, you can see if you're about to load a broken ball. And I've definitely been like this before and seen the broken paint and gone, oh, whoa, that's happened.
Right.
If you have a solid pod, that's not happening. That's going in your loader, and then you're gonna have some soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have some soup.
All right, no more. I can't give any more secrets.
Yeah, this is good. This is good. You've done great, dude. And thank you to everybody out there who supports the show. We obviously have our Discord, and thank you everyone who sounded off. We've got quite a few. Not sure we'll be able to get through all of these, but we will do our best. And if you want to join the community, go over to our website, hit that orange link, and join us. It's a lot of fun in here. So we've got Verb, who is amazing videographer and does so much for paintball. Shout out to Verb. He's wondering, this is the classic question, your favorite food and your favorite place to eat it at.
Ooh, that's a tough one because I like to eat and I like food.
That is a tough one.
My favorite place to eat, man, I don't know. I like to eat at home. Being a fireman, we cook and we throw down. So
yeah,
I would say one of my favorite foods to eat is like a Latin or Spanish yellow rice and chicken.
Yeah.
With some black beans.
Solid, dude.
Yeah, some black beans and rice with some chorizo or some tostanos and some hot sauce or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
So I would say probably my favorite place to eat out, which I haven't eaten out in years because I have two little ones that are trouble and double trouble if you try to take them out. But it's probably just a local Spanish authentic restaurant called Tapatios.
Yeah.
Nice. And we're gonna have to try to check that out when we're in Florida. Is it? Is it are there multiple of them, or is there just one there in Lake?
There's two. Yeah, two.
Okay.
And one of them's closest to Legacy. So
okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell the Wrecking Crew guys too.
There we go.
Got to go there. All right, I've got from Ricky H. Bryan, congrats on the flawless showing at Windy City. My question for you is, what was the most challenging moment during the event, and how did the team overcome it to keep the undefeated streak alive?
It's a great question. Most challenging. Man. Well, we won every match, so we weren't behind much. So I would say I don't feel like the team. I would say I'll give you my personal challenge was just I feel like for me I had one of the most difficult bunkers to play. I was playing like the small little Aztec, and like I said before that we picked on the middle guy. So for me, I was like the guy I felt like the other teams were picking on. So for me, I was just trying to survive for one, because, like I said, if you didn't float, I felt like the other team would float and tee off on your guys running wide. So it was almost like I felt like I was a decoy for Keith Brown. I'm not going to take any Keith Brown, any of his success from him, because he just played lights out. And anyhow, but
it helps. Me, what you're talking about.
Yeah. So my biggest challenge was just trying to survive. Saturday was a tough day for me. Friday I played excellent, and then Saturday I was just like, playing against heat. You guys' lanes were on point, and I felt like you guys were picking on me because you shot me off the break, I think twice out of the 5 points that we played. So almost,
I was running to the can, just focused on just putting as much paint into that pocket where you're going as possible.
Right. So that was my biggest challenge, was just trying to survive and be present after the break for the team. But as far as like a team aspect, I mean, I think our biggest challenge was just trying to continuously, I guess, improve our communication. Like I said before, I felt like this was the best tournament that we communicated. And I felt like when we didn't communicate well is when we didn't do well that on the field. That was our biggest challenge, was to use our voices. So
of course,
hopefully that gives you something, but
yeah. And what defines like good or bad communication? Like how does that even happen?
Well, we do preach, you put a name on it. So instead of just yelling something, hey, Keith Brown, he's in the 200.
Yeah.
Keith,
direct it.
Yeah. Let's, if you put a name on it, you hear your name when it's called, right?
Yeah.
And also dialogue. So, I mean, or communication is a dialogue. It's not only yelling or
it's a story.
Yelling something, it's also listening. So, you can't just hear what other people are saying. You got to listen to them. So, that's what I think, without, what made our communication better is we're putting names on it, and also, having dialogue, actually acknowledging and putting names on calls.
Of course. Yeah. Cause you're building a story together. Everyone is building this story together, and some people have different pieces of the story, and we're trying to, we talk about like building a picture of the field so that we can make good moves and be as aware as we possibly can, and be more aware than our opponent, right? That's the objective.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now you guys absolutely crushed it out there, man. It was fun to watch. And if I don't ask you this question, did it hurt paintball? He might try to come find me.
I was gonna say, you can't. It's not even. I love you, Paul, but like they go hand in hand. Like they go hand in hand. This question,
dude. Even last night,
fire away.
We had a GOAT meeting last night, which is for our PTG community. There's the GOAT squad, and they get all the perks. We have a exclusive show that we do once a month, and in the show, people are like, Paul, man, what are you doing out here? They're like, you're being too sensitive. He's like, no, man, I just want my question asked. So we're doing you. So we got your back. We got your back, Paul.
All right.
He says you can only pick one: loyalty or respect. Which one and why?
You can't have loyalty without respect, and if you have respect, you probably have loyalty. I'm sorry, the question is for you, Mr. Smith.
No, that is true. I don't think you can be one or have one without the other.
It's a good answer.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, how about this? How about this? You have a player that is super respectful. Yes, sir. Listens, follows instructions. They might not really be respectful if they're willing to just jump ship whenever, if they don't have loyalty, but they appear respectful, and they listen. They don't ever argue back, right? But they will jump ship at any point. Or a player that maybe is always arguing with you, but is never going to leave the team. And you don't ever have to worry about them leaving the team, but they're always going to be like rude, obnoxious, and tell you to go F yourself, old man.
Well,
this is good. Now we got it.
I got you, Paul.
You got
to go. I guess I'm going to go with, I don't know.
Loyalty.
I guess loyalty. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, you could be disrespectful in a respectful way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah. If you're headed in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah. Where are we trying to get to?
Right. Okay. So yeah, I guess loyalty. Cool. That's my answer.
Okay. We did it.
There we go. Way to go, Paul. Let's go.
Okay. Smokey wants to know, if you were starting a new pro team, who would be your starting five from any era of the game? It can't be you, Tyler, or Marcelo. Also, what would be the name of the team?
Oof, I like it.
Wow.
What he should have done is said you can't pick any damage guys, because obviously you have to pick all of your guys. But for the sake of the question, let's pull from teams.
Okay.
Anytime as well. So you can pick any players from any time, and they're like at their prime. They're doing good. You know what I mean? They're primed up.
Well, I got to pick some damage players, because I'm, I got to.
Yeah, get them in there.
I got to get them in there. Man, but I've been around so long that, I mean, it take me 30 minutes just to think about all the teams I played against and all the players in the past. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Starting five.
We've been on the field for quite some time now, Mr. Bryan. We've been doing this thing. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with, there's some good names out there that are even still around. So let's start with, I'm going to go with Snake player. Go with Angel Fregosa. I'm gonna go with Dorito player. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna throw out some names out there people don't even remember. Lil John,
Marquez.
Let's go,
beast.
We were just talking about Lil John on an episode. I forgot who that was with, but we were just talking about him.
Dude, that guy was so like crazy to play with because he was on Oakland when I was a kid. And when I was a youngster, I'm like 13 or 14. He would shoot me off the field if I did something wrong. He would just shoot me in my back and say, "Get over here," like a bad dog.
Really? Yeah.
And he would call me over and he'd make me rub my nose in the, like rub my nose in it and be like, "This is what you did wrong, bad dog." Yeah. And then I was like, "Okay, I'll never do that again."
Yeah, you were on Oakland Assassins when that was probably your first year pro or somewhat.
That's right. Yeah, the very first year of NXL. My first pro tournament was the Mardi Gras, the last Mardi Gras that they ever did, where it was just flooded out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's say let me pick 2 2s. Let's go with the one and only Jacob Edwards.
Yep.
He would be my Dorito side 2, my Snake side 2. I'm going to go with, I don't know. Let me think who else is out there. I'm trying to like run through like teams that I played against in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players.
Take all day. At this point, I'm just throwing names out there that of greatness. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Which first 2 are just so old school. You know what I mean?
Studs.
Love it.
Yeah. Snake side 2. Let's go with I don't know. Oh, William Jolly.
William Jolly.
I don't even know who that is.
No,
I don't know that name. That's crazy. You hit me with something I don't know.
BJ. Probably, might know him by BJ. Mm-hmm. And let's say a home player. Let's go with
just throw Bobby Long in there, dude.
Yeah.
Machine gun.
Who was the old Russian guy?
Oh,
Max. Let's go with Max.
Frankenstein is what.
Frankenstein.
Dude, fucking big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Frankenstein. So
hell yeah, that's a squad.
Yeah.
That is a squad right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And what name would I call him? I don't know.
It's the Misfits right there.
the OG Misfits.
Yeah. Nice. Dude, that's a squad.
We got him.
I love it.
Nice.
All right. I got my last one from Papa Sash. How have the 14 snake beams affected the team's approach to the game this season?
Well, at first we thought it was going to, when we first looked at it, we thought it was going to slow things down, depending on how the layouts came out and where they put those snakes beams, because now you're just more head in the dirt rather than shooting. But, like you said, Trojan's been doing a great job putting these layouts together. So, it's been great. I feel like the way the fields have played have played well. They haven't been particularly slow, to say the least. So, they've been quick. So, and fast and, a lot of points.
Yeah.
So does that answer the question?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah, they have. Yeah. They've designed them to the movers or the winners. You got to be moving and shaking out there.
Right, and I think that was our motive last tournament. Is your greatest defense is going to be offense. You're not gonna live in those back bunkers. You need to be up there, throwing punches back at them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That kind of leads into this question. Actually, I've got 2 more, but this one from Patty Rice. Shout out to Patty. He actually was the one doing all of the graphics at the event. The ones that NXL was posting with like the stats and stuff like that. Did you see those?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. On the social, so he was in the tent making all that magic happen. But his question is, Bryan, the verbiage of damage paintball, in air quotes, being controlled and smoother and slowly choke out opponents versus the Legion style of paintball, which is as many points as possible. Do you view your style as better, or do you think the style of play is catered to the rosters and skills on them?
Oh, that's a great question. A little bit of both, I think. And I think it also comes back down to the layout. It's like, is this going to be one of those layouts where you just try to get as many possible points in as possible, or are there huge lanes to where you want to slow things down? And that kind of seems like how it is every, we call it Sunday paintball. It's just on Fridays and Saturdays we see everybody risking it, and then we get to Sunday, and it's all of a sudden everybody's choking up. Nobody wants to get shot off the break. Nobody wants to run wide. So, to answer the question, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's, if we had 5 Keith Browns on the field, then let's send it. You know what I mean? You're most likely not going to shoot Keith Brown on the break. And you can't outrun a paintball, like you said, but
he's pretty close.
We got, he's almost there. So, but when you have, Bryan Smith running around out there, if you had 5 of those, I'm going to be slow and methodical. You know what I mean? So,
I'm right there with you, bro.
I think it's a combination of both. I think that's why the Russians have been so successful this year, is that they picked up J-Rab, and he has kind of pumped the brakes on them a little. He's that 5th body that's not just running down the field like the other 4 guys are. Right. He's the one that's like, all right, I'll hang back. I'll communicate. I'll get to the spot that's important, and then I'll close the game out after you guys go take go take care of business. So, to answer the question, I think it's a little bit of everything, or a little bit of both, a combination of both.
Perfect. No, I fully agree. All right, and then Lertz Paintball wants to know, Bryan, you guys have a unique way to prepare for tournaments, as you don't scrimmage pro teams prior to the event. With that being said, who's your favorite New York Wrecking Crew player to bunker?
I'm bad with names, so I'm gonna.
I'll give the name.
Let's just describe Stevie.
Let's just describe him.
The tall one.
I know the tall one. He's Lennon, right?
No, the super tall one is Lennon was one of the taller guys. He now plays for Iron Man, but the tall one,
my bad.
The super tall one is Steve Doherty.
That was Stevie. Okay.
Stevie.
And we love Steve. He moderates and helps us. He moderates the Discord, helps us with so much in regards to PTG, and the creative director of the project. So much love to Stevie.
So my answer would be the snake guy with the mustache, because I'm just jealous I can't grow a mustache.
Ian. Nice. Nice. Well, Ian, sorry, dude.
Actually, I have one more in regards to firefighting. This is from Clint Riddle. Hey, Bryan, I feel like I remember in the Virtue Resurrection series mentioning you were a firefighter at some point. If so, what's the scariest or jankiest thing you've seen at a field or a tournament and thought, man, I'm glad I'm not on the clock? And he said, if you're not a firefighter, ignore my question. I'll go hide in shame. But he is. So you're good, dude.
Well, I mean, luckily it's pretty clean at the fields, but I don't know.
There've been some injuries and stuff at fields where it's like, oh man, that is brutal stuff. You have people tanking themselves.
Yeah.
Or,
well, at practice, we had one of the Ironman guys, Vasquez. He went to Damien.
Yeah.
He tanked himself at the first Ironman practice and his lip was split wide open, like I don't know.
Damn.
Yeah, and he was pretty messed up. But I was like, he's like, do I need stitches? I'm like, yeah, you need to go get some stitches, brother. But
sure.
I mean, at one time I got scalped. I mean, I was on
with a
barrel. Yeah, I had to go to the hospital and get some staples in my forehead.
I remember that.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm always, if something goes down at the field, I'm always willing to lend a helping hand, because
absolutely,
it's just naturally what we do is we usually run towards chaos rather than away from chaos.
That's right.
So
yeah, you flip that question the other way, because you're going to be helping.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for him, because it's you want to help the paintball community, and if there's somebody in need, that's just what we do. You know what I mean?
That's a perfect answer, man. Love that,
dude. I guess this is the last question. There is one more good one, and then we will let you go, Bryan. But this is from Lil G from the Bean. He says, Bryan, with all the scratchers that Damage has played this season, what are the team goals if you guys won the jackpot?
I don't know. We would sometimes we fantasize about it, and I don't know, just talk about going off and partying and
Yeah.
just doing things that we say we would do, but we probably wouldn't do.
Yeah.
But if we won the jackpot, I don't know, we would just
Barbados.
we would live the dream. I don't know, travel around.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just make more memories.
Yeah,
great answer, dude.
Just strengthen the brotherhood. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Love that.
Well, my man, this has been a really fun episode, and we're so grateful that you took the time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. And I know the whole paintball world is super grateful for everything that you have done in the game. So keep working hard and having fun with it, and we'll see you for another 20 years here.
Yeah. I keep telling myself that too. But hey, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. Hopefully, I gave you guys some good content, and
it's amazing.
Keep up the good work on the PTG.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
We will.
All right, guys. Y'all take care. See ya.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to ptgpaintball.com. Click the orange Patreon link in the corner and support the show. We greatly appreciate it. We have tiers as low as $1.99 a month. That is nothing, guys, and it'll give you access to the Discord where you get access to the players chat and get to mingle with the entire PTG community. We have tons of different pros in there. Tyler and myself are very active, and it's an amazing way to support the show. We also have amazing other tiers. If you want to be one of the best, want to be a GOAT, sign up for the GOAT tier. It's the greatest way to support us, and each month we do a private live stream show, one-on-one kind of thing, to where it's just the GOATs, and Tyler, myself, will bring in some special guests every now and then, but you get to ask us questions in real time, live, on the air, and you get lots of inside juicy news that we don't share on the show. So, as always, we will see you guys very soon.